Welcome back to The Juggle is Real. I'm Andryanna, and honestly, the title of this episode really does say it all. And if you're listening to this episode as it's being released in December, may I just say bless you, bless your heart, because this is that time of the year when so many of us we have to transform into full-time magic makers. And I just want to say before we get into the episode, like, I am feeling this on such another level. And the irony of it is that I already recorded this episode once. I had some technical difficulties in recording, but then I got it recorded, but it would not process. And so I've literally had to now come back to this and record for a second time. But I know that this is going to be better than the first one. So we can forget about that. But I just think it's funny because in the midst of all of these things, like little things pop up and and you just have to ask yourself, like, why, because as a magic maker, you're like event planner, you're a personal shopper, you are the emotional support, you are the holiday memory curator, and you're still doing all the things, right? You're the scheduler and the meal maker and the snack provider and the house manager and the cleaner and the cook and the one who's actually remembering to buy the tape to wrap the gifts and what teachers are getting what. And so, like, if your plate feels full, that is because it is, my friend. Like, if your brain feels fried before 10 a.m., like, that's literally because it is. And if your eye starts to twitch a little when someone says, like, oh, just take some time for yourself and relax, have a break. I'm feeling that you're not alone here. This episode really is for the person who has zero time and yet desperately needs a break. Not a retreat, maybe not a long extended babysitter, not a 2 hour long meditation, because right now we don't have time for that. We need micro breaks that fit into the life that we are currently living. And honestly, like I've been telling you, this episode for me is coming at the time when I am really needing it too. If you've listened to the last few episodes, you know that I recently moved. We've been working on some big things around the house. I'm currently wrapping up one of the busiest work periods of my, I don't know, maybe career. I don't know. It's been busy. And I have been fighting a cold for 2 weeks. And so on Sunday, I hit a wall and I just thought, okay, like I'm done. Like I am at a done point and I've just got nothing left in the tank. And so I had to regroup and figure out how am I going to make December work? Because like I'm not talking at you. I'm not like up on a pedestal and being like, do what I do and you will be good, because like I am here having this conversation with you. I've done a little bit of research, looking into some science. I have some practical and realistic tools that you can tuck into your already overflowing day. I'm talking about tiny resets that actually are going to make a bigger difference than you think. I've tested them the last few days and they're actually helping a little bit. So I'm talking about like very micro, talking 3 seconds, 10 seconds, 1 minute ways that you can take a break because you literally have no time for taking a break. So we'll start with why we're feeling like this. I've got some suggestions for the teeny tiny breaks, for the 1 minute breaks. We're going to kind of come around to the boundaries and the micro boundaries, and just some helpful reminders and maybe some ideas that you can implement during this very busy season. So let's dive right in, and let's start taking those micro breaks.
This is the Juggle is Real podcast. I hope you feel seen, that you realize your worth, lighten your load, and prioritize your own needs. As we hear from leading experts and well-known faces in the wellness, entrepreneurship, education, and motherhood space, I hope you gain insights, proven practices, and learn actionable tools to help you enjoy the juggle of work, family, and everything in between with a little less stress and a lot more ease, joy, and fun. Most of all, I hope you find what you need to simplify, streamline, and supercharge your own journey of better balance and self-love. Are you with me? Let's get started.
This episode of The Juggle is Real is supported by Dove. There's something about the holiday season that just changes in the air. You know, there are cozy nights in, and I love seeing twinkly lights and the baking. You know, the whole season just has a scent. And this year, the scent for me is Dove's limited edition sugar cookie collection. This is the time that I wish there was like a smell option for podcasts because I truly love this scent. It's warm, it's sweet, it's nostalgic, and somehow still feels like a little self-care ritual built right into your day. There is a body wash, a hand wash, a body scrub, and an antiperspirant, and they all smell like fresh sugar cookies out of the oven while keeping your skin soft and hydrated through the winter. It's comfort and care in one, and because this is the season for gifting, these also make the cutest and easiest presents. A body wash and scrub for a teacher, a hand wash as part of a hostess gift, antiperspirant as a stocking stuffer for teens who love those sweet scents, or you can bundle a few together for a little self-care gift set. It feels thoughtful and intentional, and I love it. The Dove Sugar Cookie Collection is here only for a limited time, so grab yours and other scents like Chai Latte and Berry Bliss today at major retailers like Walmart, Shoppers Drug Mart, Loblaws, and Rexall. You can explore the full lineup at dove.ca. Now let's get back to the episode. To start the episode, I just want to make it clear I love the holidays. I love celebrating Christmas. I love being the magic maker. And I love all of the little things that make the holiday special. And I want it to feel special for my family, for my boys. I know that these days and these seasons are fleeting, and I want to look back on them with so much joy. And that's why this episode is here. It's really to remind us that the schedule's full, there's lots on our plate, and we can still take those brief pauses to remember what it's all about and to support us. So to begin, I just want to go over a little bit of, the research and the science about, why you might feel totally done, before even noon, before even 10 a.m. It is not a personal failure. And the truth is that your brain is overwhelmed. You're not underperforming. You are not doing something wrong. December just piles on more decisions and more expectations and more emotional labor and planning and about 47 more steps, more things, more items that you're carrying in your mental load. And, the term that I do love, which is decision fatigue, something that we struggle with maybe all the time as moms, as caregivers, as busy people. It's really just what happens when your brain has been making decisions nonstop from the moment you wake up to maybe even in the middle of the night. You're waking up at 3 a.m. and you're like, okay, did I put the mitts to dry and the boots are hung up, and where's the snow pants, and do we need milk for cereal, and who's driving who to hockey, and did I respond to that school email? And I have the best intentions, and there's a lot going on at the school, and I want to participate, but there's the infant food bank donations, and there's raffles, and we have to give items for raffles, and then there's candy grams, and there's a bake sale, and then there's a Christmas concert, and the teacher gifts, and then what am I even making for dinner? I literally do not know what I'm making for dinner tonight. And then of course it's why can't we find clean socks? Do we have clean matching socks in this house? And so all of these little tiny decisions and all of these little things, they just drain our mental energy. And so that's why, halfway through the day, you might be operating on fumes. And all the things that I've just described, I'm just talking about household things and parenting things. And I'm not even talking about all of maybe Q4 pressures that you have, or lots of things that are happening at work. And for many industries, the holidays is a very, very busy season. And if you're working in retail or you're a service-based provider, it's such a busy, busy time. So you're not bad at coping. You're not failing. You're not being dramatic when you feel like, oh my God, why am I so tired? Your brain is just sending you this system overload notification. And when this mental load spikes, which it always does in December, it's not that you need to do more. No, it's that you need those micro moments to reset. And I just had to take a micro moment to reset my nose and blow my nose. I am feeling better. It's just, some of these colds, they linger. So, anyway, your system is overloaded. It's not broken. And instead of thinking like I should be stronger, I should be able to do it all, it really is just like you're on overload. And there's only so much that you can be on overload. And if you're listening to this on the way to like a hockey practice or driving your child to some sort of extracurricular, or maybe you're up really late, like decorating or wrapping gifts, consider this proof that you're not doing it wrong. You're not lazy. There's not something wrong with you. Like you're just maxed out. You are tapped out, my friend. And so let's talk about micro breaks and let's talk about why they work. Because I know sometimes we can overlook the simple things and the tiny little things because we just think like, what's the point? But a micro break is simply like the moment, the 3 seconds, 10, 30, 60 seconds, where you're switching out of doing more, more, more. And there is research that backs this. Okay. I'm not just making it up. The short intentional pauses actually do reduce fatigue, improve focus, and they help to calm and regulate your nervous system, even if the pauses are really small. And this is good news because most of us are not getting a 2-hour break in the afternoon for like, I don't know, watching soap operas or taking a nap. We're getting 9 seconds potentially when the microwave runs, or like we have a quiet moment in the car before we have to do a pickup. And so throughout the year, these micro moments matter, but in December, they really, really, really are going to matter because you don't have time for much more than that. And so if you think of your mind like a browser, you might have heard this analogy before. And like I literally checked on my phone how many tabs are open in my browser, and there's 108 tabs. And I'll scroll through them. I'm like, no, I need that. I need that. I want to keep that. That has to stay there. And that's like your brain, like, so that's your brain. And you might be operating with like a zillion tabs open right now. And, the micro break, it's not going to close all the tabs magically or like erase things or like make your plate clear, but it does maybe stop 5 more tabs from opening, or maybe it helps to reload the one frozen tab that's like kind of been spinning and spinning. This is the magic of the micropause. So let's talk about what they actually will look like in real life, because I know you're thinking, fine, I'll do a micro break, but like, I honestly I don't know when, how am I going to do this? And so we're going to split this up into 2 different types of micro breaks. The first is literally anywhere from 3 to 10 seconds. Okay. When you truly have no time. And then we'll get to like maybe if you have 1 minute. Okay. So let's start with the 3 to 10-second time that you can take, that you're not actually going to make extra time. You're just going to incorporate it into the things you're doing. You're going to attach it to things that you're already doing. And I'm not talking about like a habit stack, like first do a sauna and a cold plunge and then a meditation. No. Here are a few things that we can do. And also preface this by saying, don't feel like you have to do them all. You're not doing it perfectly. If you don't do it once or every day, like let's just hear me out. If any of these pique your interest, if any of these feel doable, let's like pick 1 or 2. Okay. So here's some options. Number 1, the door frame pause. Okay. We're all walking through doorways. So every time you walk through a certain doorway, maybe it's walking into the kitchen, maybe it's when you're walking in or out of your house, or maybe it's your bedroom, maybe it's the bathroom. Okay. Pick a door frame. Any door frame will do as long as you're walking through it a few times a day. When you walk through the door, you pause, both feet on the ground, and you're going to just drop your shoulders, unclench your jaw, and take 1 slow breath. 1 big inhale and 1 slow exhale. And that's it. And you might think, okay, big what? But how often do you actually just stop for 1 or 2 seconds? And if you're going to do this, I don't know, maybe 5 or 10 times a day, if you're walking through these doorways a lot, it's something that your nervous system is actually going to pick up on. And it's like that tiny little, okay, we can do this. Okay. And it's going to help, I promise you. Here's another idea. Call this one the fridge reset. So every time you open the fridge or the pantry, you only need one hand to do this, right? You're going to take your other hand and put it on your heart. Open the fridge, other hand on your heart, and you're going to think of one thing that you've done within this day that you are proud of. And you're going to give yourself that micro dose of self compassion. Honestly, if you're opening the fridge or your pantry, you're probably getting something for your child, or you're probably about to make a meal for your family, or you're fueling your own body. All of these are wins unto themselves. But I want you to give yourself that tiny little dose of self gratitude for all the things that you are doing, because it's so easy to be like, oh, I need to do this. I haven't done that. And oh, when am I going to get to that? Open the fridge, hand on heart. I'm proud of myself for, actually getting, the kids snacks made, for bedtime. That's awesome. Good for me. Those micro doses of self compassion. Okay. That's another idea. Third one is the micro hug. And so this one can be with a child, with a spouse. You could give yourself a little self embrace. If you have a friend or like a colleague that is a close friend, like you're not going to go harass someone about this, but someone that you feel comfortable giving a hug to, you might be buckling your child into the car. Just give them like a tiny little squeeze. And you're going to inhale on the hug and an exhale as you release. You don't have to announce it. You don't have to make it like into this big moment, but you're just going to make a moment for yourself. And at our house, we do this thing called a 6-second hug. And there is some research that, when you embrace for about 6 seconds or more, there's, neurotransmitters and there's some hormones in your body that kind of get that the juices flowing in terms of like the serotonin and the oxytocin and just those feel good hormones. So you can do the micro hug, kind of gives you a little pause, and it kind of, when you do the little hug, it kind of makes you remember like why we're in this busy season of like, okay, it matters for this, like I don't have to wrap the presents perfectly, and I don't have to make sure like every little thing is done to a T. Like these hugs matter because this is what we're doing it for, right? To be with the people we love because we want to show our love. So give someone a micro hug today, and make it just a tiny little moment for yourself. Here's another super easy, under 10-second one, the light switch. Okay, we're calling it the light switch rule. So usually at bedtime, usually before you go to bed, like I know for myself, you kind of go around the house, you might turn off lights that are left on, you might go make sure the door is locked. I have been going to turn off the Christmas tree lights. So when you are maybe doing that, or even in your bedroom, when you go to shut off the light before bed, whisper to yourself something along the lines of, and that's enough for today, or I did enough today, or today is done and tomorrow's a new day. And what this does is it signals to your brain a little bit of closure. So instead of the tabs being open and racing and your mind racing right before you're about to go to bed, it's just that tiny little sign like, okay, now it's officially the end of the day. I've done what I can do. And tomorrow we start fresh. And it kind of gives you that little, I don't know, that little closing up shop for your brain. Super easy. The next one is the one long breath rule. And this one, it's when you get a text come in or an email comes in, or maybe someone's, yelling at you from the rec room or another room, asking you for something, or just, can you just, one of those texts or one of those emails. And so before you respond, before you're quick to be like, okay, fine. Yeah. Okay. I want you to take one big long breath, a big long inhale and a long exhale, and then give your response. And maybe it is yes, and maybe you're going to do it. But maybe you're going to say, like, you're going to yell back down the stairs, hey, bud, why don't you come up, grab your own water? Or whatever the response is. Breaks aren't always about stopping what you're doing and stopping the body. Sometimes it's just creating a tiny little bit of emotional space before you auto say yes to something that maybe you don't have the capacity for. And in that moment, when you take that breath and pause, maybe you can cultivate an answer that's really responsive and authentic to you. So maybe it is a really kind and clear, like, I actually don't have time right now, or can we think about this tomorrow, or something like that. And this just kind of falls in line with you might not have a lot of time in your day. So take those 3 seconds to remember that you don't have a lot of time in your day, right? And so just a few ideas, 5 little ideas. If you only have 3 or 10 seconds, incorporate it throughout your day, during your day. You're not adding items on your to do list. You're just doing it while you're working through your day, while you're getting things done and helping everyone else and doing those things. These tiny little 3 to 10 seconds stacked into things you already do can be super helpful. This episode is supported by Whirlpool. You might know we recently moved into a new house and there is so much on the go and so many emotions. There is so much excitement. There's tons of boxes still everywhere and pictures still to be hung. And there's many moments where we have been saying, where is my fill in the blank? And we're slowly settling in. But in the middle of it all, I realized something. And that is that your routines don't magically come with you. You have to rebuild them. One dinner, one drawer, one dishwasher cycle at a time. And honestly, I can say that Whirlpool has been such a big part of helping our family settle in and find that flow again. I love our new French door fridge. It has tons of space and flexible storage that we need for all the game day snacks and school lunches. And I have a designated snack zone so that I don't have to hear, Mom, I'm hungry every 5 minutes. The kids know where they can go to get a snack. I also love the Whirlpool 30-inch range. I think it's been my favorite. It has a wipe clean coating on the cooktop. So, when the inevitable pasta sauce spills or soup or scrambled eggs, I can literally just wipe it clean with water. No scrubbing, no harsh cleaners, just water, wait, and wipe. Honestly, it's amazing. And of course, anyone with kids or a busy household knows that the cleanup is constant, but my new Whirlpool dishwasher has total coverage wash, so everything comes out clean, no matter who loads the dishwasher. I'm talking about my husband. And then that third rack on the dishwasher is perfect for my little guy sippy cups. It fits mugs, little bowls, utensils, and those hockey night little snack plates. It truly handles it all. And so it's true what they say, that when the kitchen runs smoothly, the whole home feels more calm. And in this season of life, with school, sports, work, and just everything, those little pockets of ease really matter. So if you're in a full season 2, or you're dreaming up your own fresh start at home, check out the Whirlpool lineup to see how they're making family life more functional at whirlpool.ca. Because home isn't just where life happens, it's where routines take root. And when your space supports you, everything else just flows a little easier. Now let's get back to the episode. Moving on now to the 1 minute pause. Okay, so we'll call it a 30 to 60-second break. So the ones that you can actually take, they don't require going anywhere or doing anything special or disappearing or rearranging your schedule. These are just some quick 1 minute pauses that you can take. The first one, let's call it the kettle ritual or the coffee maker ritual. And this is while you're boiling the kettle for a cup of tea or you're waiting for your coffee to brew. I want you to roll your shoulders, stretch your neck a little bit, shake out your hands, or maybe you're going to just do that grounding sensory scan where you're counting down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or you're looking around the room, looking at, all of those 5 senses, something that you can see, smell, touch, hear. And then, of course, the taste might be that sip of coffee. And you're already waiting, right? You're already waiting for this to brew or to be boiled. And so this can become like a very short recovery period for you. It's easy, it's simple, but it's just that reminder like, okay, making a cup of tea. I'm just going to do like a tiny little quick stretch. I'm just shake it out, do a tiny little dance, or just like ground myself in a 1 minute pause. This next one, we call it the bathroom door reset, but it doesn't have to be in a bathroom. It could be your bedroom or your favorite chair, but just a moment when you can have to yourself. So say you go into your bedroom or you go into your bathroom, close the door behind you. You get 1 minute of privacy. And I want you to sit down or I want you to stand with both feet planted on the ground. And I want you to take 1 minute for some deep breathing. Maybe do a box breath where all of your inhales, pauses, and exhales are at the same count. Or you can inhale for 4 seconds, pause at the top, and then exhale for 6 seconds. And just repeat it a few times. Maybe count on your fingers 5 to 10 times. Just do this little nervous system reset. It'll take you 30 to 60 seconds, but then you can get up or you can leave the room that you're in and you can move on feeling just a tiny bit better. This next one, I call it the car park pause. And so you can do this before you do a pickup, before you're running errands, or maybe you're in between like running errands from the grocery store to the pharmacy, or maybe you're driving home from work. So you get in the car's still in park. You're going to put your phone down, and then you're going to take 1 minute to close your eyes, or even just like a soft focus. If you don't want to close your eyes, like a soft gaze, maybe you can look out and see maybe there's a nice tree, or look at something on your dashboard and ask yourself this question: what do I need most today? Do I need help, rest, or connection? 3 little things. But what do I need most right now? Do I need help? Do I need rest? Or do I need connection? And you're probably thinking, I probably need them all. But in the moment, what's coming up for you, And let the answer shape one decision for the rest of your day. Like maybe you're going to text your partner for some support or some backup, family member maybe that can help pick up something for you or do something for you. Maybe you can choose to plan like a super low effort dinner, or picking up a pizza on your way home instead of making a meal. Or maybe, instead of that event that you're supposed to go to, maybe you can reschedule, or you can, very kindly decline. What do I need most? Help, rest, or connection? Give yourself a minute and see what comes up for you. The next one is like a temperature reset. So this is like a nervous system, like a physical signal that you want to set. And like I'm saying, you don't have time. You're not going to be doing a cold plunge. We don't have a time right now to be doing a full reset. And you can do this by like putting some water on your face. But if you already got your makeup on, let's not ruin that. You can take a face cloth and put some cool water, dab it behind your neck. The easiest thing you can do though is, maybe you're not even at home. Turn on the faucet, whether you're in the bathroom or kitchen, get some cold water running, and then run the water over your wrists for about 20 to 30 seconds. And so it is going to be a bit of a shock, a jolt to your system, but it's a quick and physical signal to your nervous system. It makes you and come back to the moment. It's like a nervous system reset. And then you can remind yourself, like, I'm safe. I'm safe. Oftentimes, your nervous system is heightened, you're dysregulated, and everything is like you're on like high alert for everything. If you can pour some cold water over your wrists, it kind of just brings you back to the moment and remind you, like, okay, we're here. I'm okay. Everything's good. Okay. And you can move on. Okay. So that's the temperature reset. This next one is called the timer and one honest text break. So you can set a timer for 60 seconds if you want, but just like take 1 minute, and I want you to send a text message to someone that you trust. So it could be your best friend, your sister, your mom, your spouse, someone that you love, and just let them know how you're feeling. If you're having one of those days or just having a moment or something has happened that's just really, setting you off, you can just send them a quick text message. Just let them know, like, today is a lot, and I just need to write this out. I just need to say this out loud. I just need someone to know, like, I'm going through a lot right now. And this social support can feel like a form of rest, because it's just kind of like lightening your load. It's kind of like just like taking the weight off. And sometimes when we can share these things with the people that we love, the people that we trust, the people that we know are going to maybe empathize or support us, or just have some kind words to say back, or even just be like, you know what? Like, me too. Like, feeling it big time, and just like share in the feelings. Being honest can sometimes be a great way to take a break and just, you're going to move on with the rest of your day. But just knowing that, you're going through it and someone understands can be super helpful. So these were like the 1 minute pauses that you can take. Again, 5 options. If you like any of them, maybe try it this week. And if not, hey, I get it. Just do what you think would work for you. So I've given you some ideas. I've given you some options, and you might like one or two of them, you might think, okay, I do want to do this. And as soon as I turn off this episode or as soon as it's over, probably going to forget. So let's try to automate some of this, like we want to create habits out of this. And so if we have implementation intentions, we're creating sort of these tiny little rules that will make these behaviors stick, that will make you automatically, as you go to open the fridge, put your hand on your heart and just like give yourself that little tiny moment of gratitude. How can we actually make it habitual? So we're going to call it the if then rest habits. So it's an if I put the kettle on, then I stretch my shoulders, right? Or if I'm going to buckle in my little guy, then I'm going to give a quick little hug. Or if my brain starts spiraling at night, then I'm going to write something down. I'm going to keep a post-it notes beside my bed. I'm going to write it down and then I'm going to remember that I can deal with it tomorrow, like just out of my brain and I'm going to focus on it tomorrow. If I get into my bed, then the phone is going to be charging across the room or maybe in a different room. So it takes the pressure off your overloaded brain to remember these tiny little self care habits and it allows it to just happen. So these if then resets, you can write it down now. It's kind of just like introducing simple language. So you don't have to remember all the steps and all the rules and every tiny little detail. It's just if I'm doing this, then this happens. If I'm walking in the kitchen, then I'm taking a quick break. I'm taking that 3-second deep breath and I'm going to like stretch my neck. If then. So try that. See if that can support you in automating some of these things to take those micro breaks. And I know we've talked about it in past episodes. I think you can go back a couple of episodes about, moving into this season and putting some boundaries in place. But really and truly, one of the best ways to protect our bandwidth and all of these tabs that we got open in our brain is with micro boundaries. This is the season that we are being asked so much, like so much is being asked of us. The biggest break that we can take is like having those small boundaries in place, having these little rules for ourselves. So here's a few ideas as well. I know I've said this one before, but like give yourself a few minutes, give yourself that 24-hour pause. So if you've been invited somewhere, if there's something being added to your plate, if you've been asked to do something, respond with, let me check our schedule or let me check that week and I'll get back to you and give them, a time frame that's reasonable. But you take those few minutes, those few hours, that one day to pause and reflect on it and see how it sits. Because you know what? After that time period, you might be like, this is going to fill me up. This is going to energize me. This is going to be wonderful. And I do want to do this. It's going to make me feel great. Yes, I want to say yes. And sometimes it's going to be like, you know what? We have a super jam packed week and there's a lot going on. And so I'm going to have to kindly decline. But I would love to, get together in the new year or something along those lines. Another thing that you can do if you really don't feel like you can say no is like the low effort yes. So maybe, okay, it's the bake sales coming up and you've been asked to contribute something, you have to bake 24 dozen of something and you feel like you really have to say yes to it. Maybe the response is, I really can't, take the time to bake something, but I can completely and totally, bring in a store-bought treat, or I can, ask someone, or I can, do something a little bit less. Or do you need help with utensils or napkins or decorations? The low effort, yes. I can't do exactly what you're asking of me, but here is maybe a simpler version. And is that going to be okay? The next thing that I just want to bring to everyone's attention is that the holidays can bring a lot of, high pressure events, like the glitz and the glam. And, with my girlfriends, I think we had like a run of like 19 or 20 years of like doing this like annual girls Christmas event. And, we would all get dressed up and sometimes we were all bringing foods and baking and, we would go out for a night on the town and all of these elaborate things. And, in the past few years, most of us have had a lot on our plates. And so we haven't been able to do that. And a lot of the time, not all of us are even able to get together. So let's try the energy checking friend plan. So you might actually really want to see your girlfriends or see those family members or do something where you're having that togetherness and coming together to fill your cups and, exchange some Christmas cheer. But can we do these things in a low key way? So if you want to plan a get together, I would love to see you, but can we do something low key? Instead of a big night out on the town, can we like stay in our cozy clothes and just like watch a movie? And, instead of making big elaborate appetizers and feel like we have to have, giant charcuterie tables, can everyone just like bring their favorite like store-bought snack and, we can just chill and hang out and catch up? Let's do this in a way that we can save our energy and have a low key time while still enjoying ourselves. Like this break sometimes is just protecting our future self, because a lot of these things, like, if you feel like you have to clean your house with like every tiny inch and speck of the place, and then you're like so tired you can't even enjoy the gathering you're having, or you're going to stay out super late and you're going to overindulge and then you're going to pay for it for the next 3 days. Sometimes it's not even declining the actual thing, but just lessening it and like making it a little bit lower key, or making it lower effort on your part and protecting your future self, because you have a big week ahead, or there's lots on the schedule for the next day. So what can you do now to protect that future self? So these are some things that you can do to protect your bandwidth. Maybe saying no, or the low key declines without 10 paragraph explanations, without like saying sorry 1,000 times over. Let's just all collectively know that we've got lots on our plates and kind of just reframe our language and our mindset about these micro boundaries. So I hope this is helpful. I hope that this is something that you can, implement as we move through these holiday season. And as we close out, I just want to say, like, if you take anything from this episode, let it be this: having zero time does not mean you have zero options. You don't need like these big, giant, long, huge breaks. And I know those are great too. And here's hoping that maybe you get those longer pauses. But right now, when you feel like you have literally zero time, what you need are those tiny, consistent moments where you can just put your brain on pause, where you can breathe and recalibrate and do the tiny reset. And I just want you to know, like, you deserve that. Your nervous system needs it. And honestly, like this December, it needs it so that you can enjoy the holidays, so that you can actually feel merry and festive. So this week, I invite you to choose maybe one of the 3 to 10 second breaks and one of the 30 to 60 second breaks from this episode. Or maybe this has spawned a new idea for you. Don't do them all. Maybe just try one of each. Give it a try. Try repeating it a few times. Notice what shifts. Notice if it's helping you. And if it is, or if you found this episode to be helpful, if you think that there's someone who's carrying way too much this season as well, someone who might need a couple of reminders or ideas for these little pauses, please share it with them. And if you have gotten value from this episode, can you write me a review on Apple Podcasts? I know you got zero time, but like, give me 3 seconds and just like give me a 5-star rating if you can. I really, really appreciate you listening. I thank you so much for being here with me during such a busy time. I can't wait to see you back. Until the next episode, and I say this with so much love, take good care.